work must be done by government to prepare us for the next couple of years to 2050 and all that. So, but they say Total, now that we're in trouble, we're really in trouble now in South Africa on this issue of oil and gas. And unfortunately, it looks like Eastern Cape possesses this unparalleled, this untapped potential into this space. Total, they discovered this, the 1 million FTC, something like that, feet, cubic, whatever, 1 trillion between Mosques and Kocha. And they were to work on that project. You can imagine, that would have made one big coastal city that combines Gqeberha, Jeffreys Bay, Humansdorp, Platt, Knysna, up to George and Mossel Bay. A huge, that has never been seen before. Because you can see the Mossel Bay. It is there because Sasol went there and started that Mosques. Even in Qatar, where we were, the first company that went there to explore and invest is Sasol. We were there with the group CEO of Sasol. And a few weeks ago, we were with the CEO of Sasol here at Nyaga launching a 1.8 billion Msenge renewable or wind farm. They are currently working on a 9 billion one in Mpofu. But the disadvantage of this is that they are taking these electrons from here to Free State, Sasolburg, because of challenges of grid and all that, of which we have agreed with Eskom, because when we were in Qatar, both CEO of Eskom and CEO of Sasol were there, and we had a very nice, very good discussion. Now everybody sees the opportunity about Eastern Cape. Time for Eastern Cape to thrive is now. How do we then position ourselves in the context of the discussion we are having here? I think 3 is so small out of 39 municipalities. I wish we could have started with 10. I really don't know what exactly we would probably be doing with 3. I wish we could have started with 10, but it's a good attempt, it's a good initiative. Don't get me wrong. But the way we are so lagging behind, we're late. And we should really be convincing. On my way here, I'm discussing with someone, says, hey, we're in a board meeting that trying to discuss, there's a new company that is going to be formed. There's a new big company that is going to be formed under the DMRE. So I think the board is responsible. 3 companies are merged. So the board is busy discussing that. Where must be the headquarters of this? So this one says, but I don't know if I will win. Remember, Eastern Cape was given an opportunity to be headquarters of TNPA in the middle of nowhere. Same board and the subsidiary as well as the mother body are now taking a decision of trying to retreat on that. Built a building, 200 million, spends 10 years unoccupied. There's a beautiful building as you move around Kucha. That's meant to be headquarters of the TNPA. So I come to fund that decision. Now Labour and others are marching against this. So ndibuza ke ngoku CEO no minister phoning. Kwezi ntsomi zithethwa iLabour ne-business chamber, 70% wonke ka-Transnet use-KZN ukokweni. Wena Thobi, ngaso sukugqothe kwala. 70% is in KZN, between Durban and Richards Bay. Everything that is actually initiated here, and most of them are failing because they are meant to be developed here, whether it's Mtombo, this or that. So we really lack this coherent, very robust approach and aggressive approach in terms of dealing with issues of economic development. I get worried. I know Comrade Stella is doing her level best now under the SMME to reach out to Komaspala, raise awareness. It's not about an awareness. You can't be a mayor, but you don't know the proper elite strategies Komaspala. And the ISO lead is wrong. MMC law, go official. It needs a face. That's how we're going to turn around the situation. We're doing our best with a small town revitalization to facelift municipalities. That's why the Boxer, I'm told the Boxer group is here. That's why you see the flourishing of the retail across, because now they are able to go and develop a mall in Ngeleni when there's never been a mall. They're developing a mall in Port St. John's, Lusikisiki, Flagstaff, and all that. So we are coming here, and the mayor has just advertised Port St. John's mall as well. But the issue is, are these malls sustainable? It's a serious economic debate. If you develop a mall, you make an assumption that people have got money to come and pay. Because a mall, you can window shopping, but at some point you must get inside and make a serious transaction. So these are kind of issues, colleagues, that a brainstorming session like this, for me, becomes so critical. So the very same launch is a very good initiative that need all of us to work together. Ngondi ekhata ndinikwe ii-parcels ze-tourism. Xa ndifika phaa ekhata uambassador into yokuqala ekhalazelayo, we have got nothing about Eastern Cape here. So sivene no-CEO wase-Sasol, ndithi kuye, there was never a town called Sasolburg up until Sasol went there and set up that investment. Kwatsho kwakuyidolophu ngokuna phezu kwe-Fall River ekuthiwa kuse-Sasolburg. Ayikho actually, ila plant. There was nothing called Secunda or Sasol 2. Up until Sasol went to Secunda to set up the investment that they've done. Now more than 40,000 people are reporting for work into that environment throughout its value chain. So I'm saying, they can no longer follow these electrons or N1. It's good that you are doing an off-take agreement, but come and invest here. Inyaga, Bedford can be a big city because it's an area now that is endowed with many wind farms. The entire area down to Karoo. Most wind farms that you can find are here. We are best positioned as Eastern Cape. At night, we've got wind. So our wind turbines are pumping. During the day, we've got sun. So our solar panels are giving us energy. So we are kind of being sustainable. So one thing that I was discussing with the CEO of Eskom was that in your list, in your current arrangement with the new company that has been set up, I know there might have been other priorities, but put Eastern Cape on top. Eastern Cape needs grid. Eastern Cape needs transmission line with all the initiatives that we're doing. I didn't say a single river in Qatar. There's no river. They are just using Tisal. And what they took us through, they said, Nina South Africa, pipes that are pumping water out of their desalination plants, out of the sea, travel more than 100 kilometers down to Doha to feed all people in their capital city, Doha. Inzima. I mean, even the simplest things that we can do. But wherever you go, if you go UAE, you hear less about UAE, but you hear more about Dubai. Because municipalities there function. Mayors there are driving economic development. So if you go to Qatar, you hear more about Doha. So it is just like that. So we've got to have this kind of orientation and mentality, all of us, to understand the microeconomics better. Yes, you must have a better understanding of macroeconomic space, but leave that to Godongwana and the Reserve Bank and all others to handle it for you. Ours is to be preoccupied with microeconomics. How are we resuscitating Dimbaza, even though Baba unfair? Companies 45 that were never there in East London, SZ or ITZ. No way when you're in the companies as 50 that are also that have also recently invested in our country, in our province. But what is good about what we're trying to do, colleagues, as Chinese say, build, if you want to be rich, build roads. That's exactly what we're trying to do as an enabler to ensure that we are able to attract investors and make movement of goods easy, but also invest in trains. That's why we were signing an agreement with the province of Jilin in China, when they were here, the delegation, the governor, and all others. This is where the speed trains are manufactured, speed trains, in that province. So ndiyabachazela ke ngoba mina ndisuke eMonti, it's 250 kilometers. They say with the speed train, it's 30 minutes. So that would simply mean, if you're really moving with the development of this province, someone can stay in East London and work in Gqeberha. You wake up in the morning at 7, you get into a train, at 8 you are at work, you work, and now you are able to deal with the problem of inward migration. But you are developing and you are creating all these kind of opportunities. Someone who's in Mthatha can stay at home in Mthatha, get into a speed train along the coast, come into the city of Buffalo City and work here in Mercedes or wherever. Afternoon, you put your bag into a train, as they are doing in Europe. Most of you have gone to Europe. I'm just talking about something that you have seen live in Europe, what is happening. So we are very hard at work. As I said, we might start a little bit late because of challenges we had, political challenges and other issues as well. Because where there is no political stability, there is no policy certainty. So we're trying to catch up with that and really being aggressive on economic diplomacy. That's why tired as we are, because it's December, but we must still pack bags tomorrow. The other day we go to Japan, because we've got the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. Send this saying, this whole Ban Gangai, Ayapa, Allen Daucha. Ayapaya Uzaman, because the approach is 3 provinces, because they are into this energy space. Because now, as Eastern Cape, we are becoming this energy hub. Issue is to bring capacity in there. So our municipalities must begin to think hard on this. That's why I said we must begin to have a conversation, solid social facilitation with our people, even before we bring development along the coast. Prepare our people for this kind of development so that our people are not reacting to something that they suspect everybody about. People who are in the wind space, wind farm space, renewable energies, they want to cross the Kai. But the biggest challenge we have when you cross the Kai is the land tenure system. So no one can come and invest. Kufika abanye abantu bathi hey ngamanxiwa akuthi la ngomhlaba wakho lo hayi izimokolo zakuthi ezi. Look at what has happened, the collapse of Ngcoga, the biggest irrigation scheme in southern Africa, more than 5,000 hectares of serviced land. Ngcoga functioned only when it was under Transkei, because kwakungekho imithetho emininzi njengale. Nqwake naseKhatar nakwezinye indawo phaa kulawula indoda ekuthiwa nguminister wakwa-energy ithi ndingu-95 minister, ndingu-95% CEO weKhatar Energy, ndibe ngu-5% minister. Akho mahluko, akho mntu kuthiwa omnye ureporta komnye. Uthi ke ingxaki eSouth Africa yabana nilapha ndithetha yona nithethayo wena Ramokgopa. Xa usuka apha funeka uqale uyokhonvinsa uMantashe, uyokhonvinsa uBarbara Chris, because ezi poti sithetha ngazo azikho phantsi kwakho, wena uleqana nombane qha, uhamba unciba iintsimbi zombane eziqhawukileyo iipali zombane, you see. So the system that we are having is a very challenge. That's why I'm quite happy with the MRE to do le rationalization abayenzayo, collapse their 3 entities into 1 entity, so that we must not be all over. I think we must just streamline and get our house much better. 10 years ago, colleagues, in South Africa, no one knew anything about something called turbine skills. Today, we are exporting turbine skills. Australia is actually poaching technicians from here because we are producing more of those, but we are losing at the same time. Our universities, are they aligned? I was told that there's also the academia here. So our university align into that. What kind of skills that we are working on to make sure that we are ready for this? So we have spoken about some audacious kind of a vision, very bold. We said when we said 2019, we wanted to build the Eastern Cape we want. And people thought that we were just dreaming, and they never knew that Eastern Cape can be easily a construction site on roads. I started to build a massive road, and as I'm speaking, about 15 of other road network which connects rural areas. As are about 15 of them. Sandal will be working on them very soon. They've just approved them, those roads. So they are connecting because the road network so that the province can start shaping up. And from as we started the 7th term next year in April, we're saying the time for Eastern Cape to thrive is now. And we're focusing on 5 areas: the agriculture, the manufacturing, the oceans, the economy, the ICT, etc., etc. So these are areas that we believe, because we can be a pharmaceutical hub, as building on what we have already with Aspen. That's why we've been working with the DIC to stretch the parameters of our SZ, Kuha SZ, to accommodate Aspen area, where Aspen is, so that Aspen can benefit on this, and we start trying to massify and diversify from that space. So 800 coastline. Sibukele pa Mazuza, abantu bangena elwandle bayaqupha. Sithi ka sesingenelela sithi abantu sibanike ipermit zoloba. Simnike ipermit yoloba umuntu sogqiba singamnike iboat ahlale i-permanent black diver. Kungenjalo athathe le permit ayoyithengisa ebelungu nabanemali. Baqhubeke beloba 5 species zezonhlanzi in South Africa zifunyanwa apha e-Wild Coast. Ezinye zi-exportwa straight from here to other countries. Sibukele. We've been here. So xa nidibene ngolu hlobo nizinkcuba buchopho zalo mcimbi, fanele into kokuba nisixakekise kuloo nto. Yabona nanku usister kwapha uxakeke novusa i-Fish River. Nangu wena uyayivusa uyayizama ngoku. Ukhona nomnye uSis Judy lo urana wasemthatha Vodacom. Nguye lo uvusa la hotel, ikho hotel bekathethe isagqitha apha icentana tonto la hotel ibivaliwe Mazepa Bay. So I mean, our people are coming up to show an interest. So ngaba lapha they might be all over. She might also be all over the diaspora. But now she's working with ECDC and others to resuscitate i-Fish Reef. Naye ebulewe nje into ye-land claim. But there's something strange about the Eastern Cape, which needs leadership, mayors, where we are. People by the Eastern Cape, I can assure you it can be 200 million, it can be 500 million. But is out the figure, we figure 100,000 or 60,000 because of the whole range of beneficiary network. So 500 million, which could have made a huge impact in terms of development for future, is gone like that. More than 400 million. Developments it's government policy impact to our people, whether it's out of land, restitution and redistribution, or this. But also the fact that government is putting more resources on pushing back frontiers of poverty. From an LED point of view, Gengo, government only for social security grants puts about 34 billion in Eastern Cape car. Monyaka. Eastern Cape car, 34 billion. Spark Group has about 34% market share of that. So that with 34%, got 34 billion with Spark Group. That's why Boxer is coming in quite strongly to compete into that. There is money ready from government. That's why you cannot move in Mthatha, Dutywa, Ngobo, Mount Frere, Bizana, etc. during the what you call pay grants day. That's why you cannot move. So when there is Fanano, Ngobo, Nezinye, or Bizana, you get about 60 million. 60 million pumped into that economy. ERP, foreign nationals. Now there's an opportunity to renew and look at that. Mayors must be at the center, register, make sure that companies are operating legitimately with licenses. So these are opportunities now that are helping us to reinvent the wheel and reorganize ourselves better. But I think the topic, critical, on how do you get municipalities appreciating the trade and investment promotion, so that you don't deal with LED in the understanding that you have. Look at what SIFA, SIDA, Isiqalo, funding, grant is in, Mvaba and others. Recently, I've seen Minister Ndaben, again I'm joining when you program, and the bala, let distribution, let procurement were up. A day is more than 15 million. Eyenziwa nguSIFA. Kunikwa lo mntu equipment a million, kunikwa lowa equipment 500,000. All of them are entrepreneurs, SME. Ayingobantu abafuna tender. Ngumuntu othi mna ndifuna ukwenza into ethile ndiyakwazi uyenza uzenzela. Mna ndicheba abantu. Ngokucheba kwami abantu ndifuna imachines, ndifuna ukuncediswa ndinikwe yonke equipment yokwenza ucheba abantu. Mna ndithunga izihlangu. Those are entrepreneurs. Those are real people who are making the economy to move. The tendering system swells the economy. It doesn't grow it. We can debate that. The SMME is the only sector that will be able to help us to grow the economy. Itenda kalo yilekwenza utyeba unyaka omnye. Sidibana ugcinenike inqaya yakho imenyezela. Ingathi uthwele. So unento yonke itenda ke leyo. Unemoto ekhalama chain kayihamba. Ingathi imfene ehuqa chain. Imoto yakho ke leyo. Ithenda ke lo umnikazi wakho ufika okhama xa kanti ubethe umuntu wamqukula ehamba endleleni. Uyazi ithenda ifikile ke pha kulanda. Uphela kwayo, which is very sad about it. That's why my heart is very sore on this. We have a situation where many roads have been collapsed. We should have built roads in ndlela yase N2 enqumla emunyu boloto silityiwa mbanga ibheke eklabhari ibheke enkondlo. That road should have been done 3 years ago, but that road has been collapsed because inika umuntu wrong. Umuntu abeno group 9 xa uno group 9 ebhankini kuthiwa unemali enough noba urhulumente akakutransferelanga uzawubhatala ngeyakho uqhuba, but ifumana ayikho yonke lona. Indlela yasemlamli, indlela yasehluleka, indlela yasesiphethu, sokho isibhedlele esihle pha usiphethu se-600 million ezilalini. So sokho indlela ikhampani yayicollapse indlela. There are so many of those roads, but colleagues, all in all uyayazi sokho indlela ye-billion rand pa so esuke eMatatele ebheke eCedarville to Kokstad billion. Sokho indlela ye-billion esuke eBhisho ebheke eQumrha uba awukahambi ngapha uyafika sekungakho umuntu ulinda wena pha. Ndiyayithanda kodwa liyasendabakazi into akuzaba nzima pha indabakazi abantu baqala ulindelwa pha edilika. Sawudibana ndabakazi ihlanga senqamakwe siyemonti kho umuntu uzawulinda mntu pha indabakazi ayizibakho lo trains. Uyawubethelwa incilikithi ujikeleze pha ulinde umuntu betty roundabout. You see, I mean, so many across Ngoshwa, you go to Grahamstown, solid, because we're cutting time between PE and East London. The road we're building from that connects KZN and Eastern Cape, 8 billion, with those two wonders in the continent, those two bridges, Msikaba and Mtendu. Ndiyava kuyakhalazo pha abekho maya pha kuyakhalazo pha China mos akukho cawe akukho umuntu hayi namhlanje asiphathi kwanto ungwecasa siyothandaza hayi ngoku siyalala eChina kulalo kuyasetyenzwa 24 hours. So ezi zakuthi ngozayolala bezivuka ama-China seyibeka ibridge ayibeka phambili ibridge. Ayi la ma-China iphike ngoku 30% yethu apha bona bana 30% pha. When project has been declared, it must be done. So I mean those ububheka eMkhambathi, immediately when you have declared that road, there's a huge interchange around Mkhambathi that will be built that connect KZN to Eastern Cape. Already there's a 5-star hotel investor that has built a hotel. It's massive. What is going to happen in that area as a wild coast is something that people have never seen before. That road that moves down to Lusikisiki, down Lusikisiki towards Port St. John's, there's a Bambisani Hospital. We are building it now on 600 million. We're building an hospital in the boundary of Kloka and Mkanduli. It's a billion hospital again. They saw the we're building there as Tulele. At the same time, we're building an hospital just a stone thrown away from there. At Kloka, it's better by Madwalin. Now, so Sokang 600 million. These are big infrastructure projects that are happening over and above that is happening in the Mzimvubu River. A project that is really catalytic because it will be able to feed more than 700,000 household people with water, bring tourism, bring fishing and everything. All the best that you can think of. Also gives you an opportunity for the hydropower. So, I mean, these are things happening in the Eastern Cape. Probably that should have happened a long time ago. But we don't have a choice. We need the municipalities to share. And I'm quite happy with progress that is happening there in terms of audit improvement, audit outcome. Investors, they look at that particular part. No one will come and invest in an area where there's a chaos and anarchy. You've got to have a good audit. So you mayors and municipal managers and everybody here, you must know. It's going to be easy now to take investors to area like Padaweth and start opening up those factories. Actually, it's our next move. Because second phase of what is happening in Dabagas is a bypass. Bypass is economy as if abantu abagqitha apha edolophini egcuwa zange ndagalela petrol egcuwa zange ndathenga drink egcuwa ndigqitha apha yonke le mihla ndingqamile. So le ntsomi imane ithetha uba i-economy yalapha izawufuna iimoto ezihamba apha ziyo-economy zibulala indlela. So e-economy apha is to revive those factories and they must be revived, those factories. So CEO kangunike nexesha, but I'm quite happy when I heard about this. Kukho abantu abadibeneyo apha ngale nto ndaqonda uba utsho endodeni ndifuna uyapha. So we've got to roll out the implementation. The economy, oceans economy is a big one. That's a big one. And we've got to look at its value chain and agro-processing. As long as our Maspala, Great Kai, Mnuma, KSD, Mbashe, Port St. John's, between Port St. John's and Lusikisiki and Pizana, Yegindler, just on the coastal. The natural beauty of natural waterfalls that have never been seen. So those municipalities must wake up. Those municipalities must wake up. Ndingaba ndiyokwenzela indlela pha. Kuthiwa into nalala ndandikwenzela kuyindlela inyuka pha emaweni. Qeda ndiye kuyopha ngaphezulu. Abantu bapha mani bexinaniselwa pha ehlathini bangakwazi. Kuthiwa upha kulaa ndawo. Maqekwane. You see. So, but guys, we need to multiply for this kind of a vision of building the Eastern Cape we want. And when we say the Eastern Cape time to thrive is now, we mean it. I can tell you, every CEO national, every minister national understands. Umzimvubu asincedwa ngubawo bekuthandazwa kona uba makude kwenziwe. I knew that that was my second name. Every time that I'm going to stand up in the NEC meeting or in the cabinet Likhutla national, and I told them that I will never stop talking about this up until it is done. this Mzimvubu and the N2 highway. Azenziwanga nje ukuba sithandwa.
Can we again give the Premier another round of applause? Kuthiwa izinto ezinhle ngelinye ixesha uye ungaziqapheli ngokuziphambi kwamehlo akho. Kuba uxakene noku ujongene nako. Andinamazwi okubulela ke Premier mna. Kuba kakade ndiyintatabhana nje. Sizawucela umsebenzi wayo lo. Hayi ke kodwa noko asingeze senze njalo. Sizawucela usodolophu waseMatatiyele akubulele sizokwazi uba sikukhulule siqhube neprogram. Ndikhethe ke lo apha ezintabeni for a reason. Sodolophu, over to you. Andizisuka zama apha ecala ngosodolophu.
Wenzeka kuhle program director ndizothetha nezami izinto apha ku Premier. Wandifaka kule nto ndingagami nje Premier. Wawuthanda ukungagami. Enkosi kakhulu program director, greetings to you. Greetings to you, Honorable Premier. Kuthiwa ke mandizoyenza amazombulelo. Ndiyazama ukukhangela apha uba inoba uPremier uyawazi kanjani uba apha emini bendike ndathetha ngaye. Azovuya uba ndike ndathetha ngaye apha. Ndithetha ngezindlela zakho Premier. Ndincoma imisebenzi emihle because ke le nto ye-economical development uyayiphila on an everyday basis. So andiyazi uba singaphinde simthathe uPremier ufana nawe kodwa ke ukhona ngoku. Siyabulela kakhulu Ndungwane uba ube kunye nathi. Zange sicinge uba uzaba khona apha ibe yi-surprise. Ibe yi-surprise. Sibulela kakhulu ke futhi ke siyayazi into nokubana nabo masipala abachongiweyo apha namhlanje uzawuba supporta. Uzawuba supporta le program namhlanje uzayisupporta because ilapha kuwe lento. Si proud ngawe Premier because in the Eastern Cape in the history uyenze i-Eastern Cape uyayi imbali. Kuthethwa ngayo kangoba ke kumane xa kuthiwa kuthethwa kuthiwa hayi upresident uva ngala Premier wase Eastern Cape yasivuyisa ke lonto, which means you are very powerful ke Premier. So sifuna ke uba ukhule Ndungwane uqhube wenze ngolhlobo. Enkosi kakhulu siyabulela na wonke umuntu othe waparticipate kule program. Siqhube kakuhle ke Premier ngelixesha ukhona. Siyabulela kakhulu enkosi.
Enkosi kakhulu Sodolophu. Ndingalandelwa ndibuzwe babe kutheni ndikhethene. Kodwa ke ndayichaza. Inkosi kakhulu Premier. Thanks, Honorable Premier. Colleagues, Honorable Mayors, we now have a component of the program that is pretty difficult. We need to find a way. Oh yes, can we just allow the Premier to leave and... Hayi kufuneka senze imbeko Premier asingeze sivele. uPremier unendlelana hayi seyihambile ipasile. Hey, aniyibambanga le protocol lena. uPremier ufuna silahle iprotocol ngoba singamvumlindi aphume ngendlela efanelekileyo. CEO, I'm now going to hand over to you to take the difficult task of managing us the program for the remaining hour. Colleagues, I did ask if our teams, that is the system, is up. Oh, but I don't seem to see the other people on the screen. Is there a reason that we are not seeing them? Please, if we can, because some of our panelists are on the screen or are joining us on Teams. And just as I say the same, we welcome the HOD of DIDIT, Miss Mama, who is also the lead person of the Economic Development Cluster. We were aware that you were in MINMAC and you would join us. Welcome, HOD. As I mentioned, that we have quite a lot of members from DIDIT who are also present. We really are very happy to have you gracing us here. Mxesiphi kungawo mndade nkosi mandisuka pha mandinciphe
Manibulele Fako. Mandizibulisele nami kuninonke. Phansi ndathi ngegama elihle lenkosi yami uYesu Kristu. Ngadu amen akaziwa. Yeah, no, hopefully sathi sahlukana ubumoya sowenza umsebenzi wawo. Mandizazise nguwakhaba ifani Ayanda from the Eastern Cape Development Corporation. Sibambisene apha noFako kodwa kunikele session inzima ye graveyard. We have relooked at the program. Ibityebile ngale afternoon kodwa ke the morning session covered a lot. Sinesense into bana we will be doing a duplication if we revisit the idea of the panels. We think that a lot of information was shared, particularly on the two presentations that were done on the program itself. So how we've structured it is that we will ask the four speakers, grant them 10 minutes each to address us on the four topics. Each will come after the other, after which we will take a 5 minutes leg stretch, and then we'll come back for engagement on the questions raised. We intend sending you home latest 4:30. So if you've got plans, please work on 4:30. A number of speakers must join us virtually, including the first one, also address the topic 80, institutionalizing trade and investment promotion in municipalities. Yena ngu Mr. Mxolisi Nkosi. Mr. Nkosi, can I confirm that you connected? Jola, I hope already I'm establishing that my virtual speakers, e-processes about connector are still underway. And Mr. Zonge, please come, sir. Mr. Zonge is here in person. He is the Chief Investment Officer at the Eastern Cape Development Corporation. He will address us on the topic, establishing strategic partnerships for trade and investment promotion in municipalities. Yeah, please come, John. Masimpeni izandla says
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, CEO, program directors, CEOs, board members, leadership, and everyone in the house. Good afternoon. I was given this topic of establishing strategic partnerships for trade and investment promotion in municipalities through ecosystem development. I think the earlier speakers actually covered this topic at length. I think mine is to talk about the ECDC or how the ECDC actually functions with regards to assisting local government. Maybe let me start with the partnerships that we already have. We do have standing partnerships and agreements with the metros in the province, which is the Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Municipality as well as Buffalo City. We have standing relationships that are going on. In fact, we are renewing those relationships for another 3 years. So the way we've positioned ourselves, in fact, the partnership that we have is collaborative in nature. As you might know that these metros, they have their own trade and investment promotion divisions. So we work along each other in terms of the programs that we run. Now, there's an interesting concept, or at least something that was mentioned here earlier, that of, I think it's called Local Investment Forum. I think this is a great initiative because the way we see it is that we have various structures in the province, whether you're looking at Provincial Investment Council, Trade and Investment, the Provincial Forum. All these structures feed into each other. I think those who are not familiar with Provincial Investment Council, we have 2 streams. There's a public sector work stream, which is chaired by the Honorable DG. And I think most of you are familiar with the structure because you are represented. And then we have the industry, the PIC industry, which is chaired by the Honorable Premier. This is where we have industry captains forming part of, call it an advisory body to the Premier. So we think the introduction of this local investment forum will be another feeder, at least in our minds, to the Provincial Investment Council. I just do not know the modalities at this stage because it would seem that the work is still ongoing. But we think that it will be a great platform for local government, for the matters to be elevated at the level, at the provincial level, as well as to feed into the PIC industry, because this is where, at least in our view, we think most of the advice that goes into our work will come through. There was also a mention of investment projects packaging at a local government level. I think, again, this is another great initiative because where we sit as the ECDC, we see quite a lot of projects, but mainly these projects are private sector driven. We see quite a lot of project promoters approaching us with investment propositions, and they're looking for assistance from us, whether it's through project preparation or feasibility studies, etc. We think that with the capacity that this forum is providing to local government, this will go a long way. And that if there's assistance around project packaging, it won't come at a very early stage, but because municipalities are also capacitated to undertake this work, by the time it comes to us, perhaps we'll be talking about funding, specialist studies, and so on. I think most of you are familiar with the PFI, the facility offered by National Treasury. And I think we've seen quite a few applications from the Eastern Cape that haven't done well. In fact, they've been declined. And we think that with the capacity that this forum is providing, where you are capacitating municipalities, this will go a long way. And as the ECDC, we do have a function, in fact, that looks at projects development, where we support this type of activities. However, because I wouldn't say there's lack of coordination, we just do not know sometimes where these projects are. And we think that, with this forum, we understand it's a pilot project, but we think that as this is being rolled out to other municipalities, we'll be able to consolidate projects that require this type of assistance. And as I say, from us as the ECDC, we have an office that looks after these type of projects, and we are ready to support. But I think what has been difficult is this coordinated effort, which we greatly appreciate. There was also mention of guidelines of hosting investment somits. I think the few municipalities that have done this type of work have invited us, but sometimes we are invited late. As a result, we are unable to participate. We think that these platforms, as well as the Provincial Trade and Investment Forum, could be utilized efficiently, so that we know we have sufficiently time to participate. As we've organized at least 2 conferences, investment conferences in this province, at least we have. We're not saying we know it all, but due to our experience, we think we can assist a great deal. But it's always nice if we know these things up front. Sometimes it might seem that we don't want to assist, but if we're given sufficient time, we'll be able to assist. There was another point that was made around one-stop shops around the province. Nelson and Mandela Bay municipality actually are leading in this, in that they are ready to launch theirs. In fact, we were talking to them not long ago. They're looking at the structure, and we encourage this because this is indeed where investments are located. And we think that if other local government or municipalities could think along these lines, but again, we understand that these type of activities require resources which we don't have. But from our end, as the ECDC and custodian of the provincial one-stop shop, we are here to support. And we've been supporting other municipalities who have come to us, requesting such. I think, for me, in terms of establishing these strategic partnerships, I think platforms are already there, and so I can count them. I think I've counted 3 already. And with the local investment forum or council that's being talked about, we think that will be another layer which will go a long way. So in our view, this is where we think we can always exchange ideas on how we do this type of things in order for us to support each other. We've seen quite interesting projects coming from local government, but I think what has been lacking has been, the packaging of these projects. Again, I'm going to reiterate the point that as the ECDC, we are there to assist. We have an office that does this kind of work, and to be good to understand these projects. I understand the 3 municipalities that are pilot now, their projects are already in the booklet, but obviously we don't know the other municipalities if they have quite interesting projects as well. But we're really interested in getting to know those projects and how, as the ECDC, we can support. Chair, I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I think the forums or platforms that are already there, in my view, they don't need additional work, but it will be a matter of making sure that we all participate. Chair, maybe let me leave it here for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Zonke. I think 3 things to highlight. The province has forums for trade and investment coordination. If you're not part of those, please talk to us. We've got a trade roundtable. We've got the provincial investment forum led by DIDIT. We've got the PIC public sector. So there are opportunities for us to engage in this regard. We're building a case for funding for project preparation. I think this has always been an issue. With regard to empowerment, participation, I think we've started that journey as evidenced by the event today. We are moving. Please take note of your questions or remarks. Once the four speakers have addressed us, you will have an opportunity to raise those. Mr. Ngosi, are you ready? Mr. Ngosi is a local government specialist and he will address us on institutionalizing trade and investment promotion in municipalities.
Yes, sir, I am ready.
Okay, great.
Okay. Please go ahead. So note, say you've got 10 minutes. And just as a reminder, we have retired the panelists. You invited all panelists to raise their questions or remarks during the plenary time. Yeah, over to you, Mr. Ngosi.
I'm just checking, Chair, if my presentation is coming on the other side. Is it visible?
Can't connect
Yes, it does not.
because I've got the same
Okay,
presentation.
thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. I was told that I've got 7 minutes, so I only prepared just 6 slides to deal with that one. And in my slides, I'll deal with the background, why we should invest, why we should promote trade and investment and institutionalize it with local government, and what do we mean and what do we do by institutionalizing. Chairperson, the question that is always asked, obviously we are governed by legislation, in the main, the Municipal Systems Act, which directs us as local government that we've got a key role to play in coordinating and promoting local economic development. But also, Chair, I think it is important to remind your conference that in addition to just promoting investment, local government has got a responsibility to develop infrastructure and to create an enabling regulatory framework. And therefore, we become crucial players in trade and investment, in tourism promotion, as well as in investment promotion. I come from KZN, and at some stage KZN took one decision where they said one district should have one investment promotion agency. So with 10 districts and 1 metro, you are now dealing with 11 development agencies that are coordinating investment promotion throughout the province. Now the question that always gets asked is, why do you want to invest, why do you want to institutionalize investment promotion at local government? And I've provided you with 5 answers for that. And the first answer is that any investment, whether it's facilitated by national or provincial, it takes place in a municipal space. And you cannot then have an investment that excludes local government. In South Africa, you have one of the CMEX prisons. It's in Kokstad. That development was multi-million and it was developed by national without involvement of the local government. When the prison was completed, they discovered that there was not sufficient electricity in town and there was not sufficient water to support that infrastructure that had been invested. It lay empty for almost a year while they were coordinating those services. And I think the mistake they made there was to forget that any investment occurs at local government level. Also, most investment initiatives will need, if not all, one of the foreign basic services. electricity, water, sanitation, and road infrastructure. And that is why local government should institutionalize investment promotion. But also put away the two reasons that are put above. As local government, we have a duty to create employment and to stimulate economic growth at a local level. And you can only do that through investment promotion, trade and industry, as well as tourism development. There can be no conducive environment for tourism, trade and investment in local government without a full and effective participation of municipalities. We have put over the past a number of years that the grants that are allocated to municipalities by National Treasury are actually reducing. And municipalities need to have this investment coming to their city to try and in a way augment the revenue that they collect. Now, in simple terms, Chairperson, how should investment promotion be institutionalized in local government? I've made 6 issues which in my opinion should be done. One, I'm saying you can institutionalize trade and investment promotion by providing an enabling environment for investment within a municipality that is in the form of basic services, reliable water, electricity and roads. There are services or investors that would want reliable water. We had a questioning point here in Etabini where Clover needed to be assured of a certain quantum of water before they could invest, because without water, their investment is doomed. But also what has been my experience in a number of municipalities is that municipalities lump up investment promotion with LEDs. And LEDs in many municipalities are primarily established to deal with town planning issues. And their main focus is on the town planning jargon, and investment promotion and other related issues become secondary issues. And therefore you need to institutionalize it and separate it from town planning issues. We are also saying municipalities must create an enabling policy framework for investment promotion, like investor-friendly policies. We've seen a number of metros have got what they refer to as rate holidays. So if an investor comes in, you give them a rate holiday whereby they won't pay rates during the development process. They'll only pay rates when they start trading. Because if you don't do that, from the time they start the investment, they are already inundated with paying for rates when there is no income being generated from the investment. We have noted also that smaller municipalities do not have the capacity to attract investment promotion. And because of this, they usually appoint town planners who are responsible for investment promotion, and it doesn't work. And we are saying if you want to institutionalize investment promotion, look at your competitive advantages and appoint someone who are specialists in what is your competitive advantage. If the area in which you are in is an area that is suitable for agriculture, then appoint an agricultural specialist who will be able to promote investment in that regard. And we are saying there will be municipalities that will never have the financial capabilities and capacities to actually institutionalize investment promotion. And in those cases, in terms of the constitution, the district has got the responsibility to share those responsibilities through shared services, so that even the small municipalities actually benefit from that initiative. Now, my recommendations, Chair, and this is my last slide, and I'm on 4 minutes, is that municipalities need to develop the capacity to structure and package projects. If need be, they must pay for the skills when required. You will, from time to time, get lots of investors who are on the run, who are very quick to invest. They say, give us this information and this information so that we can invest. And if you don't do that, then they go to the next municipality. We are also saying municipalities must have dedicated investment promotion unit that is fully capacitated with requisite levels of decision-making authority. You'll find that the junior officials who are au fait with investment promotion operators have to report to town planners who do not appreciate what they are doing, and decisions which could be made on the go actually have to wait for a very long time. And unfortunately, what we've learned over the years is that investors are very, very impatient, and they don't wait for the bureaucratic red tape that exists in municipalities. We're also saying, you've seen it at a political level as well, where municipal council committees, the MMCs as well as the portfolio committees, fail to establish oversight capacity that deals with tourism, trade and investment promotion. They also get lumped with LED, and LED in the main, as you all know, deals with town planning issues. And those two things don't talk to each other. You need to separate them. What we have also noted, Chairperson, is that over the past few years, the President has hosted a number of presidential investor conferences. And if you look at those investor conferences, very little role has been played by municipalities. And if invited, you'll find that mayors from metros are invited to these presidential investor conferences, but they only play a ceremonial role than to make a meaningful contribution. Yet, as I indicated in my first slide, any investment takes place within the local government space. I think that is something that needs to be changed. We are also saying municipalities must be well equipped with policy framework, and we need to create an environment that is conducive for both domestic and international business to thrive. I am not one person who believes in international investment. I think that if we plan things properly, there could be a lot of domestic investment promotion that could take place, and it could actually create more jobs than you could get from international investors. That is what I have prepared, Chairperson, for today's presentation. And taking into account the time that has been allocated to me, I sincerely hope that I have done justice to the request that was made. Thank you very much, Chair.
Mr. Ngosi, thank you. Thank you, sir. Please don't run away. I've had a request that instead of taking questions and remarks after all four, that maybe let's package them into two. We take remarks and questions that because we may lose some. So I would like to open space for remarks, questions on both Mr. Zonke and Mr. Nkosi's presentation. I am looking around for hands. Hand number 1, just keep that number. Hand number 2. Hand number 2, hand number 3. Hand number 3 next to me, hand number 4. When I go number 1, I doubt lift in Jelly's and Chongbo Mr. Ngosuza Gvana. If I go over, we may have to ask you to come. Oh, there's a mic. There's a mic, yeah. Hand number 1, please just lift the hand. Sizo mic kuwe.
Thank you so much, and I welcome the presentations. My input is just on the institutionalization of trade and investment in municipalities, and I think it's important to look at the capacity of LED units. We have to acknowledge the fact that municipalities are at different levels of economic maturity, and not all of them will be able to have standalone investment promotion units. So for those that don't have, then there is need for that capacity in the LED units. And the recruitment of professionals, I do agree with the sentiment that, there's need for that paradigm shift from focus on, planning to having professionals in the economic promotion, investment promotion unit, sorry. I think there's also need for, rate of reduction within the municipalities based on the systems and structures, but also at an individual level where, LED officials and other players who are supposed to be part of economic development are supposed to be aware of the costs that come to the municipality in case, things are not done properly. And that brings me to the transversal management issue where, local economic development is everyone's, business, which means the planners are important, those in finance are important, if we want to maybe set up incentives, we need to, the budget units as well, and the communications, the marketing, if we are going to come up with value proposition. We've also seen that there is lack of costed budgets and very few resources are allocated to LED units in most municipalities. Let me stop there for now. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Mr. Ngosi, you were able to pick that up?
Yes, I did.
Okay. No, please just take note of it for now. Hand number 2, this way.
Thank you very much. Probably I have no question in terms of the presentations that have been made, but I want to appreciate that what has been emphasized in terms of the investment, where the involvement of the local government, because we will find out that in a local municipality, you will find out that there's an investment in a certain area within the municipality, but the municipality was not forming part of that. And the challenges that have been faced, and the example that has been made in terms of Kokstad prisons. So what it has been emphasized, and I want to appreciate that. And as well, I want to commit ourselves to say that in terms of processing, I've been listening to the presenters, even in the property investment. They were talking about the processes, the long processes that are taking place in terms of zoning, in terms of approving plans in the municipality. Now you can see that in terms of the LED, to promote the LED within the municipality, we need to fast track those processes. So I want to make an appreciation and just such a comment in terms of those presentations, but I have no question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. There's Swapa hand 3, no hand 4. So let me take hand 4 now. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Greetings, colleagues. For me, I'm interested to know from the presentation by Mr. Bekchwangu, Mr. Ujola, on the alignment between the local investment forum with the thematic groups that were presented on the PIC, if how are they going to fit into the local investment forum, or how the local investment forum would fit into the thematic groups that are going to fit onto PIC. I think I'm covered on the red tape reduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Zonke. Let's take hand number 4, Nandi.
Thank you, Chair. No, I just wanted to ask from Mr. Ngosi around revenue collection in a municipality, because I'm aware that that's also an area that he's quite familiar with. And then the role played by business, or the role played by rates that are collected, especially from businesses. How important it is to make sure that you establish these good relationships with business so that your revenue base gets bigger, and because more rates come from businesses than from residential clients. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Ngosi, you may come. Mr. Zonge, please be ready. Mr. Ngosi. Mr. Ngosi, you there?
Yes, I'm here. I was just struggling with the muting part of it. Chairperson, I think the first question on the institutionalization was more of a comment than anything, but it talks to the capacity. I think this needs a paradigm shift from local government to look at a bigger picture. I think when we developed the organizational structures of local government, the focus is on what brings money now, as opposed to what will bring money in the future. And municipalities will have to look at the impact of investment promotion and begin to allocate resources accordingly, as opposed to saying, well, when we do monies, we'll allocate more resources to infrastructure because we're getting grants from national department and so on and so on. So the issue of capacity is critical. The second one, in terms of the planning, yes, planning is critical, but what I'm agitating against is to lump up LED together with tourism and investment promotion, because they're completely different. And if you do that, most of the time, LED and town planning always win, and the trade and investment promotion becomes the stepchild of that process. And once it becomes the stepchild, you cannot win that battle. So we say separate them and have them both at the same level. Now, there's a project, Chairperson, that is run by the World Bank. It's called SNDP. That project is looking at South Africa and looking at the best cities and towns to do business with. One of the critical things they look at how long does it take for that particular city to allocate electricity to the new applicant, to issue rates clearances to the new applicant, to connect for water, sanitation and electricity to the new applicant. And on the basis of that, they will rank you very high in terms of the best city to do businesses with. And those are some of the things that we look at in terms of capacity. And just on that one, Chair, fully agreed, not all municipalities will have a fully fledged investment promotion unit. And that's where the provinces comes in, and that's where the districts come in through the shared services model. And lastly, Chair, I am responsible for revenue where I am now, and we're seeing a big role that is played by business in this regard. For instance, at the moment, when you get rates that are paid by anyone. But what we've seen in Ethekwini, we have developed areas that are regarded as special rating areas. And what happened in special rating areas is that you'll find that businesses, whether old or new, will pay an additional rate. And that additional rate will be utilized in providing security for that area, in providing additional cleaning and solid waste removal in that area so that they are kept in pristine condition. And you don't get that in residential areas, but businesses came together and said, in addition to the normal rates that we are paying, we are prepared to do special rating so that these services, which will make our places extra attractive, we are prepared to pay for that. So that's one of the issues we have seen being paid by businesses. And the last one, Chair, in again, we have started something that is called development charges. Development charges work like this. It's again in agreement with the investors. If someone wants to come and put a mall in a particular area, then the city will say, but hang on, you need a road that will connect that mall to your investment. it will increase the electricity capacity that is required by so many folds. And the council had no plans of doing that. And through the development charges, we'll charge you some money that will be responsible for the infrastructure outlay that is leading to your new investment. And we have seen that big businesses accept that without any problem, and we are seeing the yield of the development charges this side taking place. Thank you very much, Chair. I think I've done justice to the questions that were raised.
You have said. Thank you very much, Mr. Ngosi. Mr. Zonge, can I have the mic to Mr. Zonge? Yeah. Inigeni lo mfana mchale mic.
Thank you, Chair. I think the question was around local investment forum. What is the link between that and the thematic groups of the Provincial Investment Council? Chair, I think the thematic groups are really focused on, I think, around the 5 growth frontiers, and that would include 1 or 2 other themes, including ease of doing business as well as energy. So if you look at the thematic groups, although they are not yet adopted, let me just be specific on that. These were proposals that were made, but the provincial leadership is still in discussions, and those will be adopted or amended. But it was really around agro-industries, automotive, tourism, digital economy, as well as energy. So if you look at those sectors, I think you would find those sectors in the local sphere in any event. So we think that the areas that will be, in fact, the thematic groups will be focusing on, these are areas that will touch on local government in any event. So we think the link will be there, but it won't be specific to say the local investment forum will feed into PIC in that fashion. At least that's not the thinking for now. Besides, the local investment forum is still the thinking, at least my understanding for now. I'm not sure of the modalities around it, but I think that if the thematic groups or the themes are adopted as they are, they will actually address local issues, as most of these things are bottom up in any event. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Zonge, thank you, sir. Let's move forward. Mr. Mbambo, are you ready? Uziphiwe?
Yes.
Call, ma'am. Call it. Miss Mbambo will address us on strengthening the role of municipal economic development agencies in trade and investment promotion. She will be, after her, she's from KZN Cogta. After her, we will take Mr. Mike Newton from Umgungundlovu Development Agency. Over to you. You've got 10 minutes, ma'am.
Can
you load?
Thank you so much. May I just check if I am audible?
Yes, you are.
All right. Can I have my presentation up? Should I fly it on my side or?
Yes, you can fly it yourself. I'm just going to put it up on the big screen. I'll follow you.
All right, thank you. Greetings, colleagues. Thank you very much for this opportunity. We are very honored as President Proctor for the invitation. My presentation will be very short because I have requested one of our CEOs to join in presenting this topic, simply just to demonstrate in action what we have been working on as KZN and what we continue to work on as KZN. So I won't dwell much on the background of economic development agencies, just to indicate that in KZN they have been, they were established in 2012 as a result of the global meltdown, and the cabinet at the time made a resolution that each district were to have an agency. And currently we have 7 functional agencies in the district, and there are 3 districts that have not yet established, which is Kinzatwayo, Zululand, and Amatuba. NTV Metro, I believe, have been covered by the President Mr. Bosi. They do have a structure called Invest Durban, which was similar to the functions of the development agency, so there was no need to duplicate. So in terms of the status of the agencies, as I indicated, we have 7, we have 1 in Lembe, Ntugela, Ngubunovu, will take us through shortly. We have 1 in Ubud district, which is the South Coast Tourism Investment Enterprise. All of these agencies do have a board of directors and CEOs in place, and they are fully functional. We also have 1 in Umkhanyabuke and 1 in Herigwala and Umzinyati. I thought I'd just show this slide just to sort of demonstrate the difference, because we do have Trade and Investment KZN, which is an entity of our Economic Development Department, and they are also playing the role of investment promotion and attraction in the space. However, they are playing it at a high level role, and the agencies then, as Mr. Bosi had also indicated, that need to then institutionalize the work of investment promotion. That is where then the agencies come in by then doing the actual work on the ground in the local space. And we are working closely with TIKZN, as I indicated, and as such, through a program that they have, we have established Invest SA one-stop shop, and these are also being housed at the local at the UDA premises, and they are then become the gateway for all our investment promotion and attraction, and also just assisting the existing businesses as well with all of their business needs, as well as assisting to facilitate the smaller level businesses with any entry requirements that they may have. This is a high-level snapshot of the sorts of projects that the agencies are currently doing. And so I've lost the slide or two, but it's fine. I think at this point, actually, I'd like to stop and allow the CEO of Umgumundlovu Agency, Mr. Newton, to just take us through the kind of work that they have been doing, looking at the pillars that the province has for economic development, which are namely industrial economic hubs, the ACZ, the Erythropolis, maritime, tourism and development, agriculture and manufacturing. So all of our agencies are currently doing work in this sort of space, and have been able to attract investment and interest from external role players who would want to play in the space. For example, with the aviation or the Erythropolis, we have in Umkhanyabuke, the agency there, Umhlosenga, is busy with Mkhuze Airport, which is a very strategic regional airport that is going to unlock a lot of economic potential there for the district. With that said, I would please like to hand over to Mr. Newton right now. Thanks.
Right, good afternoon to everybody, and to the chair and to the attendees, all protocol observed. My name is Mike Newton. I am the Chief Executive Officer for a development agency known as Socio-Economic Economic Development Agency. So we look after the district of Socio-Economic. As Mr. Mbambo has indicated, we're one of 7 that are operating in KZN at the moment, and we are known as MEDA, just to make it easier for everybody. I'm just going to go through the slides specifically that I've been requested to talk around. As Mr. Mbambo has indicated to you, the sectors and the products specifically to that district, you need to identify all of those in order to understand where your competitive advantages are. And based on that, you then start focusing on developing programs that would into that. So you'll see for Mngombe, we're predominantly manufacturing, because we're in the capital city of Mzanduzi, and Mr. Nkosi will know it very well. It's obviously KZN is quite a small bunch of colleagues. So I'd like to just greet him while he's still on the call. You'll know that government sector within Mzanduzi is quite strong, and we've got a very strong agricultural component with manufacturing. So those are what we focused on. What is characteristic about our area is that we export more than we import. So hence in order to make us a little bit more competitive advantage, we need to try and find the logistical corridors and try and create better corridors going forward. So things like an air logistics platform, we'll talk around Orabi very quickly, but things like the M3 corridor, those type of things, we can get those to work better, then obviously the trade's going to go a lot better. The other issue, as a district municipality, you start identifying your locals. We look after 7 local municipalities. Mzanduzi, I've just highlighted it in green, does about 70% of the economic activity within this district, and hence it's important that we sign some sort of formal agreement with them so that we're in a position then to assist them with their catalytic projects. We then identify catalytic projects for the district. There are 29 of those that have been identified from Mngombe, and Omeda basically administer and run all of these on behalf of those local municipalities. So just to give you some examples about what these development agencies can do. We're busy with a smart city in Camperdown. That's about an 8 billion rand project that we're busy putting together. We had to make sure, as Mr. Kosi indicated to you, you've got to get all the basic infrastructure in place. So the wastewater treatment works was a challenge. We were able to secure the 500 million for that through the Department of Water Affairs. We're busy with a tourism facility known as Howard Falls upgrade. So as you can see there with the pics, these are recent pics of phase 1. Our mayor there is doing a walk around. Just to have a look at what the facilities were. So we were responsible for placing one of those down. We're also busy with an international film studio. We've got a British company that wishes to set up a film studio at 34 million euro that is coming in. They are listing now at the moment on the London Stock Exchange. It'll be a privately listed company, and then we enter into a relationship with them. We're putting up a full stage facility in Ashburton, adjacent to the N3, and then we're also putting up a second facility closer to Hilton, to Sadara, where we're putting up a post-production animation facility, and that's 120 mil. The big one is 400 million. So those two we facilitated. We've also, with the Nelson Mandela Foundation, managed to get the rights to put the first animated movie together called Voga, which will be coming through in the first quarter of next year. We're busy with the KZN Film Commission. They've amalgamated with KZN Tourism to get funding to start this program. Because we're landlocked, we're looking at logistic dry ports. So we have a Cato Ridge dry port, which is in eThekwini, and then we're busy in Mooi River and Pofana to set up another one called Tambo Springs, and that's about a 2 billion rand spend. 3 million TEUs coming through. It's been placed strategically based on the N3 and the main Johannesburg-Durban rail line. So we're busy negotiating that one, and it's private sector money that's coming in. We're looking at medical tourism. As I was explaining a little bit earlier this afternoon, these are pictures of the Kardashians. You can see see the dad looks like the dad in the one picture, and then he looks like the mom in the other picture. That's what medical tourism is all about. It's a very lucrative medical procedure, and we have the hospitals that are able to provide this. So we're busy working with the Midlands tourism establishments for convalescence scenarios. We're also busy with the provincial government precinct, which is about to be built just outside of Pietermaritzburg. That's the proposed development zones. We're busy with the NECs now for public works, treasury, in order to facilitate that. I did mention the airports around the air logistics platform. So busy with a 99-year lease between Umseduzi municipality, who have the rights to administer the airport at the moment as a municipal airport, and a public sector individual, which will extend the runway and improve the instrumentation, which will allow for increased capacity coming in. So these are high value LSM investors. So you want these kind of people flying into your area. So we're going to be able to start moving more people into the area. And then at the same time, we're now looking at putting in a logistics platform at the airport, specifically around commercial activity. So there's already some activity that's going on at the moment. But if you have a look at Duga Tradeport just a little bit further up the road, you'll see that this thing attracts about 4.6 billion rand in private sector investment. So we have two sets of very high-level investors, one from People's Republic of China and one local, who wish to invest in about 60 hectares of what we're going to call the RB Tradeport. So we're busy with that at the moment. We then link the Maritzburg farmers market through that same logistics platform to Mauritius and onto the UAE Food Security Program, which is another 500 million rand rates benefit to the Umseduzi municipality. So this is the kind of stuff that as the development agency we get involved in. Agriculture being predominant in this area, we're busy with an abattoir, 40 million rand funded through private sector to look at what they call Wagyu beef. It's those Japanese cows that are so expensive. They need a special abattoir, so we're busy with that at Moya Pafana. Maponya stores have come in. They now want to also get involved in the beef side of things, so we're busy with that at the moment too. What's very important is we are energy hungry because of the manufacturing. Based on that, we've entered into agreement with some IPPs, independent power producers, and we are going to be the virtual wheeling agent for this district to bring renewable energy in and basically be able to sell it on with the municipality to the bigger manufacturing plants like Bullerman and Willerton Oil. I have a gigawatt already. I've signed already an energy plan takeoff agreement for a gigawatt. I've got another gig coming in from India. The guys are going to see me in 2 weeks' time. We're going to sign up for a big solar farm. But that we will then be able to push the stuff through. So we have an energy war room. That's my mayor sitting on the right-hand side there, chairing the facility. But as you can see, we then sit with all the old engineers, and that gives us access into the JET funding, the 11.5 billion that's sitting waiting for just transition. We're also talking to Eskom around battery storage. They want to set something up at Tenley Dam, so we're busy just waiting for that. Just to give you another example, a bio refinery, so they bought up a sugar farm. It's an American company called Formative Group. They're making, they want to make green fuel, and we're buying the energy that they're going to generate emanating from that. Obviously, Eastern Cape, the Sangu, and that is quite important. We're also looking at cannabis. You guys are leading us by miles, but we're looking at it as an opportunity. We presently run the KZN Hemp Association on behalf of the Department of Agriculture. We're just trying to knit all the things together to try and get that industry. And I would love to come down there and learn a few tricks from you, because you guys are way ahead of us down there in the Eastern Cape. Then small town CBD development, we've been working with a little town called Mpende. We've finally got a small town revitalization strategy going, and we're busy building a little small shopping centre, which will stop the guys having to drive all the way to Pietermaritzburg in order to do their work. We've got a very functional social compact, which is the organised labour, organised business, government sector, Amakosi, everybody signed into it. We've got subcommittees that operate, and these are run by private sector individuals. So it's not government telling private sector what to do, it's the other way around. We then take that information, we then create interventions which allow us to speak to people like our national champion and provincial champions in order for them to get the show on the road. So that helps a lot. So what's next for us? As Mr. Nkosi was indicating to you, investment and traction incentive policies, things like tax holidays, specifically around rates and taxes, very attractive to an investor coming in. We've got a business retention and expansion policy, which we're rolling out this year. We're expecting Heineken quite soon to set up a brewery in our area. As again, Mr. Nkosi indicated to you, Clover, you can't make beer without water, so we've had to go through the same process of making sure that there's water security for Heineken to come in. We've got, from a tourism perspective, I've got some funding for the community tourism organization so that they can put brochures together for Christmas. We are busy with a wine route, a beer route, and I'm going to set, once I've learned from you guys, I'll set up a Zol route as well. But it's a tourism related activity to try and bring a different kind of character onto those tours, into those Midlands, and spending money. So we've created a thing called Alco Tourism. We've got a passport, an Almeida beer passport, and a wine passport, and I'll have a Tsangu passport at some point in my life as we go down the road. We've done other stuff, like put unemployed graduates into tourism hospitality establishments within the region, 53 of them. So we've just helped skill up a whole lot of guys in the next 2 years, which is quite exciting. Then the agencies get involved in a lot of international work. We're busy with the twinning between Umsunduzi and Stuttgart in Germany at the moment. I've got to get permission to fly the mayor over to Germany to go and sign with Stuttgart, because Baden-Württemberg and KwaZulu-Natal as the district and a province share relationship, so the capital cities will now share a relationship going forward. Then we do stuff, land disposal, public works, as you know, starting to look at the buildings that are sitting there that they want to get rid of. So we've got a secretariat that runs with that. And then we get on, we do get involved with the LED stuff, handing out of goods and presents to SMEs, but it's generally, as Mr. Nkosi indicated to you, it's generally stuff that is left to the local councils. We focus on the bigger stuff. So we look at stuff like the showgrounds, how do we make it commercially viable? We look at things like the establishment of the sports centre. We managed to attract Barcelona to come and set up a sports academy, a soccer academy here in Maritzburg. We've set up a master plan for sporting, because we've got a lot of high schools or schools that are able to take these young students through into professional sports. We've got a new university that is coming in as well, so we'll have 2 universities in the Umsunduzi area, so it'll become a bit of like a varsity town.
Mike.
Basically,
Mike.
Sorry, yes, sir.
You have 1 minute, sir.
Okay. Well, it's basically just to focus on sports. With Throwing South Africa coming through, we've just got 80 million for that. So thank you, sir, and I do apologize for that. I was brought in at the last minute, so I haven't prepared slides for exactly what you want. But I do appreciate the opportunity to chat to you, and thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to share with you today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Mike. It doesn't show. That was a rich presentation, so thank you very much. You want to comment, Nandi? Okay. I want to open time for remarks and questions, colleagues. Please stay with us, colleagues, virtual colleagues. We would like you to take these remarks and questions. I think that's hand number 1, hand number 2, hand number 3. They want to go home. Yeah. Is a hand number 1.
Thank you, Program Facilitator. My name is Zoli Letuzi. I'm from the Chrysalis District Municipality. Let me first welcome the good work that the agencies from KZN are doing in terms of economic development. but my interest was on. My interest is just on 3 things. I was hoping they're going to talk about their funding model, how the parent municipalities are funding them. Because what is common in the development agencies, they get only funding for operations. Yet when you do your investment facilitation, there are areas where you have to do joint feasibility studies with your potential investors, and you find that you don't have such fund. So I was hoping that they're going to just talk about the funding model. Secondly, there is a tendency of converting municipal agencies to be an additional directorate of the district municipality, where you find being imposed your cost containment, they can't travel, they can't host their potential partners. And if you don't do those traveling, it will be very difficult to do the investment facilitation. So if you can just elaborate on the relationship that the agencies have with their parent municipalities, and also whether the key staff that these agencies have, because for one to excel in terms of investment facilitation, at least you should have your chief investment officer, somebody that understands the investment in terms of lobbying the funding. If they can just talk about that, thank you.
That's directed to Ms. Mbambo or Mr. Newton? That is Mr. Newton. Okay. Hand number 2, please, Matiba.
Thanks so much, CE. I think mine is 3 questions. Firstly, is to welcome the presentation from KZN COGTA and their development agents. Is there framework around the provincial ESCO decision, and we need to look into that as a province. So from that provincial ESCO decision or the framework, what is the relationship between COGTA and the district municipalities regarding with that entity? In other words, what is their participation? Are they a part of the co-ownership with the district of that entity? I just want to get that one. That's number 1. The second one, and then the second one, Chair, is around their business model. I can see very interesting projects, really, but what is their business model? Because according to the Municipal Systems Act, Section 93, the agencies cannot participate into the public-private partnership. It is clear. In other words, they cannot establish an SPV. It's supposed to be the shareholder who must establish those SPV, and then something, all those different types of things. So what is their participation around those public-private partnerships? That's the second one. Or else just appointing the operator without really being part of that PPP. Then the last one, I think Mr. Duze has raised, Chair, is around the third one before the last one. I think I like the relationship between the KZN and investment, the trade investment KZN. To us, it's in alignment with ECDC. So I think we really need to find a way in partnership with ECDC between their one-stop shop, you understand, and in partnering with the local development agencies. I think that one is just in alignment. The last one is around the financing model, both for project preparation, because if you see some of those projects around the PFIs, your budget for infrastructure, like they talk about the dry port around 2 billion rand. You can see that really somehow there is a treasurer that is involved, or there is really another investment that is outside the country. So what is their financing model, and what is really their revenue enhancement strategy to make sure that they must be sustainable outside the resources of both your provincial and also your local level? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And number 3.
Yes.
Edlamin.
Thanks, C. Loison Biko from Tinga. The 2 gentlemen from Krisani almost made me to withdraw. But my main interest really was on how the agencies are funded by say the shareholders, because indeed we are really struggling as agencies. There's a lot of work that we want to do, but when it comes to how we are funded, it becomes a challenge. I also wanted to take the point that they've made, particularly the CE from Umeda, where he's saying they are working with all municipalities in their area, and there are agreements. I think even us in this area, we can take that as a lesson. In our area, we have 5 local municipalities, and I don't have an agreement with any of them. So it's a matter that one needs to look at and be visible to where work really takes place. I will leave the other questions I have, because they've been covered by the 2 colleagues that came before me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mbiko. Let's take responses. Ms. Mbambo, Mr. Newton, pick those that you think you fit for.
Okay, Chair. I think normally it's ladies first, but I'm going to protect my COGTA colleague and try and see if I can hit most of these, and then she can pick up the back end of it. In terms of the funding model, firstly, thank you for the questions. Some really pertinent questions here. So even though it is graveyard shift, I can understand that the people are listening with both ears. So I'm very grateful for that audience. In terms of the funding model, yes, the district municipality, or our parent municipality, basically funds our operations. They predominantly fund 100% of what we need. Generally, it ends up in an arm wrestle, so we like a labour union, you aim high and then you come back a few steps and find yourself discovered for the year. Which is, the quest is then to try and find other alternate funding methodologies that would be able to stimulate and assist you to go forward. So that's why we did the show. We tried to do the show. We expected that there was going to be a stipend paid to us. Unfortunately, we didn't get foot traffic through, so that little model fell through. So not everything was successful. But what we have engaged in, and we've got an agreement with provincial COGTA and with provincial economic development tourism, is that if the agencies, if they want us to put a project down that they are funding, and so we work as an implementing agent on their behalf, we take a percentage of that project. So we've settled on a grand sum of 10%, and that effectively allows us a bit of leniency to get professionals in to assist with things like project preparation, to oversight, especially around structural issues. If you're building hawker stalls and restaurants, toilets and stuff like that, you need a professional engineer to sign off on that stuff. So we do have that arrangement in place with the DDAs and the provincial departments, which I think maybe from an Eastern Cape perspective is something that you could look at. We just put it into the implementation plan as a fee, so they sign off on that and then we continue with that. The other question around the additional directorate in the district municipality is a very pertinent one. As Mr. Nkosi indicated to you, we've got to try and stand independent of local government structures. We're sort of like King 4, but we're also MFMA compliant. So we just need that little bit of space and blue sky in order for us to perform in the manner that we do. So yes, that discussion has come up around just going into the economic development department and falling under the HOD in that department, but it doesn't quite work out that way. So what we've done is we report into their economic development portfolio for information purposes only. So they get full set of, the same as what our board gets and the subcommittees within our board, progress reports on, let's say, how it falls project. They will get a copy of that report, and I'll have to sit in the EDP and present to them and to their EXCO. And then to council, we present a quarterly report. So every quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4, our chairman comes in and then he reports to council. Same as the audit committee, as an external player comes in and reports in, we use the same formula as that. So that's how the relationship works with the district municipality. In terms of key staff, absolutely critical that you've got somebody that understands investment, otherwise you're dead in the water. So we have what we call general manager, projects development. So a very special kind of animal, and he's been able to sniff out the opportunities. I then put him in to do the MOU, set up the baseline, and then we continue the journey together. So as the accounting officer, you find that you can't actually get involved in the deals. You've got to let your general managers attend to that, because you've got to sign off for if there's any issues or consequence management issues that need to be dealt with. You've got to be at arm's length in order to attend to that. So that chief investment officer within a development agency is critical, absolutely critical. The other question around relationship between COGTA and the DIAs, I'm going to leave that for Zipiwa to handle. The business model around the PPPs, absolutely try and stay away from a PPP. So what we do is those projects come to us through people that have got an interest in the investment. So basically we facilitate that arrangement. We assist identifying the opportunity. We will then assist that person to identify a key funder or a player, whatever. They then sign as an SPV or whatever it is their relationship is, like the PLC, the private listing company that's from the UK. They've given our little young lady, Lungelo Gladla, 25% share in the South African business. And then they bring the movies through, and then she's just got to make sure that the film studio is operating. So there are different, it's not a one size fits all, there's different scenarios for whatever types of projects there are. The trade and invest relationship, I do understand that you can see the relationship between the Eastern Cape Development Corporation and Trade and Invest KZN. They're very much the same type of animal. And certainly I think a healthy relationship between the coastal provinces would be a bonus. You guys have got that Eastern Seaboard thing going, we could certainly assist you with that as well. So, yeah, agreements with the MOUs. If you guys need any help at all, please, my contact details are with the presenters. You're more than welcome to contact us. I'm very happy to provide you with draft MOUs and stuff that you can use to your heart's content. And then my last comment is to the guys at Chris Harney, is come and visit us. When you get a chance, get yourself onto either a bus or a plane or something and come through. We'd be very happy to host you and see you and take you through and let you see what's going on. Thank you, sir.
Can we give Mr. Newton a round of applause? Mamumbambo, please come.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mike. I think you covered most of the questions that were there. But I just wanted to also reiterate on the issue of project funding that in most of the agencies here in KZN, it is the same in the sense that they do get only the operational budget from the district's municipalities, which means then the onus is on the agency to then go and knock on doors to get project funding for projects. So there is a vast array of alternative funding that is there from different stakeholders. We are currently also working with Ellen and Jill Gray Philanthropies as an example. They're doing some work in our agency down in Ilembe district, Enterprise Ilembe, and that is all happening at the cost of Ellen Gray. And also, one of our CEOs has been creative in the sense that she has hired a consultant who is working at risk. Now, that person's job is solely to assist them to source funding for their packaged projects. So as that person then is able to secure funding, they are then going to derive their fee from that from that funding that they've been able to secure. So it's about trying to find creative ways around the parameters that you are working with. And then on the issue of the relationships with the district, We have also found here in KZN that the district development model has also really assisted in terms of the relations with not only just the district, but also the local municipalities. We have said as KZN that all of the agencies need to be chairing the ESID cluster of the DDM model. So in each district, they are then at the helm of all of the projects that are happening in the local space. So we found that that is also very helpful in forging those relations between the agencies and the local municipalities as well. I think Mr. Newton has touched on the project management fees, because we as COGTA went as far as to engage provincial treasury to say we have these agencies and they are capable. However, we were finding previously that government departments, sector departments were not coming on board in terms of project management fees, and we had that discussion, and this is now something that does happen. And I just want to say also that we have different models in terms of the agencies and their local spaces. Some of them will have SLAs, some of them will have MOUs on a project basis with the local municipalities. So those are all of the avenues that can be explored in terms of strengthening those relations with the LMs. And we have also come out strongly as KZN COGTA on the issue of appointments, whether it is appointment to the board of directors or appointment of staff, key staff, particularly the CEO, because we are saying that that incumbent should have the skills that are necessary to actually seek project funding. So it does not assist if the appointment to those key strategic positions is not going to be done according to the criteria that is required of a person who's going to occupy that position. So it becomes very important to say, while we know that there are political mandates that are in place, however, let us hire the right person to do the job, whether it's at the board of directors level or at the in the organogram. We have also said as a provincial COGTA, it is very important that in the organograms of the organization, we actually want to see personnel that is hired specifically for investment, promotion, and attraction. And as such, CEO Newton has just alluded to them having that individual. So as we are seeing now the updated organograms and the new posts that are coming into play, we are seeing that more and more of the agencies are adhering to that, and we are expecting to yield some positive results from that. We have also, unfortunately, I couldn't present a comprehensive presentation, which is what I intended to do, but we have really institutionalized the district development agencies in KZN, because they also then, over and above the DDM structures, they sit on a provincial structure, which is the Action Work Group B, which reports to the provincial ESID cluster. So all of the issues that emanate from there then find their way through to cabinet, and we are able to get cabinet resolutions which assist us to unlock some of the challenges that we do come across in the space of the development agencies. I'm not sure if I have not. Maybe one last offer would be to host any municipality or agency that would want to do a benchmarking visit. I had indicated in my presentation that we have 3 districts that have not yet established agencies, and as such, we've recently facilitated a benchmarking visit to 2 of the functional agencies that we have. One was Umeda, that Mr. Newton heads, and the other one was Enterprise Ilembe. So from there, the colleagues then from the districts were able to then go back and are compiling a report with recommendations now for their council. So information, we have also created a platform for the agencies where they're able to share lessons and best practice with each other. In fact, we've just had what we call a DDA CEOs forum, which just concluded now. It was actually going on concurrently with this particular engagement. And we have found that in having these platforms and in institutionalizing the work of the agencies, not just at a municipal level, but also at a provincial level, we found that we are able to make headway in unblocking some of the challenges. We're not saying all is perfect, but there is a plan in place, and we do constantly have engagements with the agencies in order to assist. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mbambo. We will take just one remark from Munandi, and then we will close.
Thank you, Chair. No, it's a very short one. It's quite clear, maybe because this was a cabinet resolution taken, and the mandate was given to KZN COCTA as the custodian of DDAs. That's why they're able to give so much support to the DDAs. And as you're saying, Mr. Ala, it's something that we, as the Eastern Cape, maybe need to look at, not necessarily in the same form. But there's a lot of mentorship, the interventions that KZN COCTA gets involved in whenever there are bottlenecks. As she said, government departments were not paying fees. They got involved and they started talking to provincial treasury, etc. That's one area, a key takeaway. But maybe in the next phase, we had spoken about support to DDAs. And these are some of the areas we will need to look at and benchmark against, but also the relationships, strategic partnerships between the DDAs in the Eastern Cape and the DDAs in KZN, together with COCTA and COCTA province as well. And I think it's quite important that there's a lot to be learned from the current speakers as well. And therefore, the fact that DDAs are so involved in other projects in partnership with district and local municipalities, that's quite key. So yes, that's all I wanted to say. We would like to take this forward and form these strategic partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you, Sis Nandi. We 2 minutes between ourselves and closure. I would like to make some closing remarks before we release you. It is evident. Come again? Yeah, we can release them. Yeah. We would want them to participate in the closure. Yes, colleagues, it is evident from this engagement that support extension to local government, collaboration and partnership with local government is key. I think there's no doubt that unless we win at that level, none of us will win. I was sitting next to my colleagues from Chris Hani, and they were narrating some of the challenges relating to electricity that has been faced by Enoch Mkijima, and some of the debilitating implications of that on trade and investment promotion. Because of that reason, I think these two provincial agencies, ECTC, EXEC, have a commitment to broaden this initiative to even other local municipalities, but also to broaden support not just to trade and investment promotion, but to other aspects that have an impact on financial viability of municipalities. A colleague was earlier saying, if you have to wake up and look for a job, you must have at least money to buy soap and access to water so that you can at least wash your face before you can knock for a job. I think this analogy is very true for local government, that if we do not deal with the basics, trade and investment promotion becomes a luxury. So I think we're mindful about that. We see this as a start, as indicated. My colleague spoke about other provincial structures that are targeted at strengthening trade and investment coordination. I want to confirm that more is being done at provincial level to improve coordination. Initially, I think we started at provincial level, and increasingly, we're now looking at vertical linkages between the province, national, as well as local government. Cross-institution learning is key for both lessons learned and as well as for benchmarking. Some of the information shared here, I think, was very instructive. It's not information you bump on a daily basis. You have to be in an environment such as this to have access to that. So thank you to the presenters for those lessons. I think as we conclude, I want to extend a very big thank you to our speakers, all our speakers, right from the morning session. I think all of you colleagues were very instructive. I got 60% of the presentations, all of which were very refreshing and empowering. A very big thank you to EXEC for having led us to host this eventful session. Thank you to the Eastern Cape Development Corporation for having powered this intervention with resources. And thank you to the 3 LMs that participated. We heard from Unandi that there were bumpy roads, but all of you came, across the line, still friends. So thank you for staying the course. Big thank you to SALGA. These are SALGA's stakeholders. We are always emboldened when SALGA lends a hand to initiatives of this nature. Thank you to the private sector colleagues who rendered presentations here earlier on, and the frankness with which you raise the issues. Sometimes we speak among ourselves. It really refreshes when we hear people who are looking at the public sector system from outside. Thank you to other attendees from development agencies, from the district municipalities where the 3 local municipalities are, to DDIT, to Provincial Treasury. I think as we release you, we want to wish you well. Thank you specifically to the colleagues at EXEC that led the actual program on the ground. Colleagues, you gave it meaning. You gave it meaning. I would like to release you to go home, and thank you for being disciplined, for staying put till we close the day. The session is closed.